Hello, this is Ken Sisk and welcome back to Wood, Stone, and Steel. I hope you liked part 1 of the 3-part series about Jack Badger, where we started to show you the beginnings of the process of custom wood joinery. We also met with their primary supplier of quarter-sawn English oak. They described the heritage origins of the material they procure. The provenance of where these trees come from is a story unto itself. We also heard some inspirational conversation between Ben, Tom, and Liz as to why they choose to work at Jack Badger. If you're looking for motivation or inspiration as to what you do for a living, you should definitely look at part 1. Another interesting tidbit is we learned where the term top dog and underdog originated. In this episode, we will meet with Jack Badger's go-to blacksmith, Bob Garlick, at his rustic forge in Buxton, Derbyshire, as well as speak with the master carvers of Jack Badger about their tools and methods. Wood, Stone, and Steel will take you on a journey of reconnection with a more natural way of building. We will visit places, buildings, and structures that are primarily made of natural materials throughout the world. In our journey, you will also meet artisans and design professionals who bring beauty, comfort, and familiarity back into our world. Bob's breadth of work is truly impressive. From grand wrought iron gates to custom hardware and hinges to a beautiful, delicate copper and steel stem rose. He is truly an incredible craftsman. Bob is currently working on the many little pieces that make up this beautiful wrought iron gate. So, let's get started with our visit to Bob Garlick's workshop. So how many pieces do you have to make up again with the scrolls?
I've got to make 20 for this section I'm working on.
So 20 of these large scroll pieces. It seems like a lot of man hours to be able to put that together.
It is, yeah. Just going to use that as my template for starting off.
It's mesmerizing.
I could stand and watch this all day. It's Does that stop it scaling up, that, Bob? The cleaning off the surface stuff, yeah? Otherwise you'd bash that back into the surface.
Yeah, if you leave scale on and it gets too mucky, you can't clean your material off and it ends up with a very horrible finish. It's better to stay on top of it while you're working it.
Yeah, no one ever explained that to me. You putting that together where you're actually scaling it off as you're malleating the piece.
Yeah, if you leave it too long, it sort of embeds itself and gets a really good key in the metal. It's very hard to get off then, you struggle.
Right, you'll be grinding it off forever.
Yeah, so you need to sort of take 90% of it off while you're working, really. Right, I'm just going to scroll it up now.
Great template, right?
I absolutely love the tools. Look at that. That's like Mad Max jig. to me, the creativity in just how you use the surfaces and the hammer is mind blowing, because you're like constantly sort of like tweaking and checking and tweaking and checking and using a different bit. And I can't imagine everyone's the same. You know, it's not the same process. It's kind of they're all micro differences. And
Right, you got the base template and everything's be very close to it.
Getting to it kind of tweaks every time,
Yeah.
I think, or it seems anyway. I love watching it because it's, like you say, it's mesmerizing.
And you have a limited time in order to make everything bend.
He's got fireproof sleeves, luckily, Bob. So
And shoes. Wow.
Right, I'm just going to finish the tail end of the scroll off now. And then that'll be done. There you go.
Beautiful.
such a satisfying curve, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely.
So this is, it will end up, it's a small one, it's for that one there. It's the same,
Right.
same as that, but it'll be fire welded lower down on this bar.
All right, so you're going to use the fire welding process to take that piece, it's a scroll piece, onto a straight bar piece. What is fire weld?
Basically, it's like just getting the very ends of your, where you need it welding, up to a sort of semi-molten temperature. And then you put them together, and then you just gently work them into each other with the hammer. A little bit like squashing plasticine together.
Okay.
But if you get it too hot, it'll be ruined.
Really?
Yes.
So it's almost like two pieces of clay and you're able to mold it and then it'll stick?
Yeah, and also it's a little bit, if you got two pieces of plasticine, you roll them together. If you roll it too much, it becomes thin in the middle where you're rolling. And it's the same when you, with this, if you hit it too many times with the hammer, where you work,
It'll start to thin out and get wider.
you lose your section, yeah.
Right.
Section ends up looking thinner and wrong. So you've only got a limited amount of time you can work on it.
But is it as strong as like other welds?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But was that the same process they would have used prior? Say if this was from the 1880s or something.
That was all they had.
That's all they had, right?
Yeah, it was either that or peg or rivet it.
Rivet. Oh, gotcha. So mechanical fastener versus welding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite high stakes when you've just spent that much time doing one component and the same amount of time doing another component, and then you've got to get them both to the right temperature at the same time to get them together. It's where the skill comes in, I guess, and the experience.
It could soon go wrong, yeah.
I imagine there's more messed up at the beginning of the learning process, is there?
There were when I started, yeah, like now I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
So that was that piece, and that'll end somewhere around here, or?
Yeah, you can just sort of see, you can see the end of the scarf there. Let me find a better one to show you.
Okay.
There you go.
The scarf. So we have this piece here,
Yeah.
and then we have this piece here.
Yeah.
They meet up here,
Yes.
and then you'll have another piece here. So
Right.
3 separate pieces, and they'll all meet here.
3 separate pieces, but also 2 welds.
Right. The weld 1 to 1, and then the 2 to the 1.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Plus you've got to make your components the right length, so that everything, when you curl it all up back up after the weld, it ends up in the right place.
Right. Ends up in the right template piece, and everything's pretty much identical. It is identical. I only say pretty much. It is identical.
It's close enough for exterior work.
Right.
Yeah.
Rough enough for a country spot,
Yeah.
as my dad would say.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so now, how long have you been being a blacksmith?
20 years now.
20 years.
Yeah.
And
I've been
it's
working with steel 40.
40 years working with steel.
Yeah. Since I left school. Well, before I left school, really.
And then what brought you into this, we'll call it bespoke type of metalwork?
I always toyed about with it, and I always toyed about with making copper roses and ram's heads before I took up blacksmithing. So I'd already got a keen interest, and then I took a job at a restorations firm as a welder. And when I took some of the samples of my work, and they had a blacksmith that had left, and says, "Are you interested in trying this out?" I says, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And like, I really took to it like a duck to water.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that were it. I were away then. And I was.
In fact, we have one of those samples of, I guess, one of the flowers that you're actually putting together.
Yeah, yeah,
So now this is copper.
yeah. The top's copper. The stem will be steel that's been a beeswax finish on it.
That's a really unique. How long would something like this take to make? I mean, it's multiple layers. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5. A lot of components.
5 hours.
5 hours. Oh my
There's
lord.
a lot in it, because well, the stem's like got to go under the power hammer first to
Right.
get that bulb underneath, and draw your material out, fold your knot. Plus you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of petal.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Really unique. You still make these?
Yeah, yeah, occasionally, yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some people out there that would want to buy these. Hey, just to let you know, I wound up buying that rose from Bob, and my wife absolutely loves it. Bob has agreed to make a limited run of this beautiful copper and steel rose. If you are interested, go to woodstoneandsteel.org to find out more. All right, guys, how did the both of you meet?
Well, I can't quite remember. Do you think it was, we got put in touch somehow?
Yeah, I think it was word of mouth by a place I used to work at, and a man there recommended me to your dad.
Yeah.
And then we sort of got introduced like that through your dad. I met you and your dad together.
We've always been as a like, well, me and particularly my dad, but as a company, we've kind of always been on a bit of a quest to find the right blacksmith.
Yeah.
And it's Bob.
So word of mouth.
Word of mouth led to, and then maybe it's a bit naughty, I don't know, but we've always had a specific handle, like what we deem as quite a tricky handle to make. It's very fine. It's a thumb latch.
Right.
It needs the right, so it shows whether someone's got the right eye for shape, and it's the delicacy and the skill. And usually we just give it to them without much expectation and say, "Oh, can you make me one of those?"
Right.
And then see what comes back.
So
And-
your dad met someone that knew of Bob? Or
Yeah.
Referred him to
a friend of
you?
a friend of a friend, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
And then we gave Bob, like, oh, we've never tried Bob before, gave him a handle, and then he gave us back the handle, and I was like,
Oh my
I
God.
don't know which one's the real one or not. So
Crazy.
it's kind of like
From the
match
original,
made
right?
in heaven, yeah. Because for me, that's, we take a lot of steer from Bob on the how and the construction,
Right.
and the aesthetic as well. But then we've also got a really strong opinion on the
Yeah,
aesthetic.
you give him the
that
direction that you
yeah,
like, and he's got the experience and all the experience of having done it before
Yeah.
to say, hey, you can't do that. This is the way it would look like.
Much the same that Austin's timber needs to be the way the type of timber it is for it to look right. It's no use making a medieval style door and then not putting something fitting on it, and that's where Bob's expertise is second to none.
All I was going to say is it sounds complicated, but it's very easy to do stuff for Ben because they just want top quality. It's when you got people who are not wanting that's when it's awkward.
It can
It's
be
awful, right? Yeah.
cost-based, can't it? So
Yeah.
if you're happy to say, look, I appreciate this takes more time for it to look the way it does, and it's going to cost a bit more. Please, if that's the only hurdle, well,
Right.
happy days.
Right. It's quantifiable still.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If
right.
someone can't do it and they want to charge more money, then that's a problem. But when you can do it, and it's just a question of well, it's going to cost a bit more money because it takes more time. We're fine with that,
Right.
you know, and yeah.
Can we just take a look at the hinges that you made for the door that we just saw at
Oh yeah.
Jack Badger?
So they saw the actual doors in the workshop
Right.
going on.
Yeah.
So as far as the mount, this would be the bottom piece,
Yeah.
right? Then
That would get
that would be the hinge.
driven into the frame.
So that's going to be driven into some frame. This has got to come into here,
Yeah.
and then the gate's going to swing on that. So now you're going to have to adhere that to the door.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the stable piece, and you're going to have to raise that door and slide it, because once this pin is in,
Yeah. You lift the door on and drop it in.
right?
So
That's some pretty big steel. What diameter steel is that?
35 millimeters.
35 mil. Okay.
Yeah, it's a hefty
And then
pin.
this is a little feature at the bottom.
yeah, that's the support. So also what you tend to have typically on these kind of hinges is one of the pins is longer than the other.
Right.
And the reason for that is because if you're trying, when you're lifting a very heavy door on and off, if you're trying to line up 2 pins and 2 holes at the same time, it's twice as hard. So if one's longer, you get the longer one on first, locate it slightly, then you can look at the other one and drop it on. So it's a tiny little trick.
Yeah.
It's a historic trick. It's not a new thing. It's there for a reason. It's to assist you getting it on.
I would never know that until you said that.
But and then these handles are a bit special as well, because that's the board detail on the door. So it's got a peaked board, a
Yeah.
pitched board,
I don't know if you can see that.
and that's why that is.
Oh, that's why that's shaped like that, to receive that.
So it sits over the. So we've made this board and given it to Bob as a template, and then he's dressed this to that for us.
Right, and that's going to come through.
Yeah.
And that'll be the handle for the door.
Yeah. So it'll all still turn, but it's got a back in it. It's. I think my favorite type of jobs with Bob are, we did. We're going to see them tomorrow actually. And you made us some medieval roves, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Which
yeah.
again, I didn't really know. I knew what I'd taken photos of some real ones, didn't know what they were called, showed Bob, and then Bob gives me a history lesson on it, which is great, and explains how they work. So then we designed the door to incorporate Bob's knowledge. And then the great bit was they were hot riveted together. So we'd heat them up to cherry, pop them through the door, and they're kind of like a bar with a head on one side and a washer on the back, like a square decorative washer. And you drop it all through, put the washer on, and then it's glowing, so you rivet it on. So Bob came to the workshop, and I got to go on one side with a sledgehammer, and he was on the other side.
Riveted
dressing
together.
it in. It was just
Mushroomed it.
It's nice. I like it when 2 worlds collide, you know.
You could hear,
So-
when the rivet went cold, you could hear it contracting all
Yeah, right.
It was creaking tight.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
They're an amazing fixing. They're great. It was a lovely job.
Bob's projects consist of an intricate array of smaller components which are carefully welded together to form the final product. As unassuming as Bob's workshop may look, he has worked on some very noteworthy properties, including Malvern Train Station, Angel Croft Hotel in Lichfield, Stewart House at Pembroke College in Cambridge, and the Forbes House in Belgravia, which was the first £300 million private home in London. Bob's father, Bob Sr., who we were warned about earlier could have a tough disposition, turned out to be a very gracious host and was kind enough to give us a quick tour of his 76-acre working farm. The property has been in the family since the late 16th century, and Bob Sr. pointed out one of their stone buildings with a 1637 date on the door lintel. He showed us some of the recently constructed dry stacked stone walls for the perimeter of the sheep paddocks, and of course he introduced us to a few of his favorite cows. He also showed us his top secret military vehicle that he bought and was very fond of. We were very tired after a long cold day of filming at the forge, so Ben suggested we go to the Three Stags Head Inn in Wardlow, Myers. Bob Garlick had a previous engagement with his family, so he was not able to make it, but his dad, Bob Sr., said he'd join us for a couple of pints. We made our way to the Three Stags Head Inn, which is a Grade II listed public house. It was built in the mid to late 18th century and is a definite must-see if you are in the area. The group of us entered the pub and were warmly greeted by the warmth of the fire of the hearth. We quickly made friends with the locals and even enjoyed some traditional music coming from the room next door. By the end of the night, everyone was warm and happy. We were introduced posthumously to Jeffrey Fuller, the last recent owner, who was a local celebrity in his own right, known for running the pub and being a traditional clay potter. There was also that creepy mummified cat in its own shadow box. We were told they discovered it in the walls during a renovation. It is believed that they placed the cat in the walls to ward off evil spirits and witches. I want to give a special shout out to Andy and Catherine for being wonderful hosts at the inn. Now, let's visit the carving station with Bob and Liz. Not that carving station. So this is the carving area. So we got a couple of people. Liz, how are you? Nice to see you again. Thank you for the tea, by the way. Very good. Yeah, so nice. You're working on a carving here. Is that for, I guess, it's always for a particular project, but what type of project is this one for?
So this is, we're working on some samples for the this beautiful, very rustic screen and staircase, and I believe that there's no metalwork in this.
Yeah, so it's got a wooden handle. Well, it'll probably have metal hinges, but done a sort of a sample version of a fully wooden latch.
Oh, like a prototype?
Yeah, so we kind of a bit of R&D. So we do quite a lot of R&D here.
Yeah, to see if it'll work.
Yeah, because when you're trying to figure out how things were made and there's no manual, that's how you do it. You know, that's what a lot of these are actually sample pieces to test the design, to test the method.
Okay.
To make sure that it works and we're happy with it. And then once we've got that sample one, then when we get the actual head out of the door, it will have that above it in the centre.
Wow.
The reason is it's for the Lake District. It's a house in the Lake District in the middle of nowhere. It's like amazing house. We thought that this was, if it's done right, we thought this was a nice little tip of the hat to the area and the house, which would have been a sheep farming house.
So I mean, just here. I mean, this is one piece of wood.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you had to cut this around here to get this so that it could protrude. And then you did this. That had to be difficult to try to get that profile to keep the nose here.
But that's what makes it cool in my head.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
That's incredible.
you know, modern mindset is, you can't put that, you'd have to stick that on.
We would have glued it on.
Yeah, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know, and you would have run the mold through. Whereas actually adding that in is kind of, it's a lot more the same mindset as they would have had, because they would have been doing it a different way. So they would have kind of gone, yeah, that's all right, we can do that.
Yeah.
No, it's no skin off my nose to have that hanging down, because actually we're doing most of it by hand anyway. So.
And it's nice to have something tactile. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
nose to rub, don't we?
I love when people go, when they touch things, that they go into a house. It's a good luck symbol or something.
Yeah, to ward against the evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Liz, how long have you been doing this type of work?
About 18 months.
Okay.
2 years.
So you're an apprentice here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of came by accident.
Oh, you were here one iteration and you came back?
No, I haven't done any carving before.
Oh, really?
In that period of time.
Well, looks great.
Yeah,
Liz is very good. She's very good.
so Ben Stout has always said everybody's got it in them, and it just takes someone to give you the instruction, the techniques, the tools, and the encouragement.
And the opportunity, right?
Yeah, and it was. I did have it in me. Thank God.
I think most people do. I mean, you know, different people have different levels of creativity naturally.
Yeah.
I think you're quite a creative person as it is anyway, Liz. But yeah, it's.
Yeah. Did you have like an artistry background or some creative background?
Yeah.
No? A little bit. All right.
What?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as the tools themselves, I see you have a lot of chisels going on here, an array of chisels, just for this project.
So it's the difference between, so you can have a wide chisel with a very shallow curve, and then a wide chisel with a very acute curve, and then tiny chisels. So you could probably have 1,000 chisels, and then you'd still be looking for just
That's the one, right? Yeah.
going to fit that curve.
We do have a between us. We have a massive collection of. Is this Tom's chisel box? So this is a selection. This is what Tom's made this for himself to keep his chisels in.
This Tom.
Well,
Are you gonna?
I made it for my wife, and then I decided that I liked it too much, so I kept it off. Put my chisels in it.
She's gonna see this now, you know.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no
right.
way.
Don't want to put my hand in it. I'll make a cut on the chisel.
Go for it. Go for it.
They're very sharp.
There's no way you would fit all your chisels in that box, but you can kind of, you know, we've got chests that, because like Liz says, you get quite specific ones that you might use once every blue moon, you
Right.
know? So we have a chest that, and there Liz has got a really good selection there. In fact, that's quite a new selection for you, isn't it? Did you just buy that?
I bought a job lot for 400 quid,
Yeah.
and it just about gave me everything I needed.
So, you know, when you think of it, 400 quid, what's that? 600, 700,
500?
500 bucks?
Yeah.
But if you buy,
For a living?
For a
do
set
it?
of chisels
Yeah.
to kind of get you going.
That's incredible. You could never, ever have bought them new.
well, something like this is
Yeah, about
20,
about 30 quid.
30
Yeah, definitely, right?
just for one new one. But we often find that it's the older chisels, the ones
The high, better steel.
really good steel.
Yeah.
And they've been tried and tested, and they just feel right.
Yeah.
You know, they feel good. They feel
The harder
loved.
wood.
The quality
Yeah.
of the steel, just for clarity as well, is I'm sure you're aware of this, but it's for holding an edge. So when you sharpen it, it stays sharp longer.
Yes.
And the modern ones, they just, you know, you get a sharp, because it takes time to
Well,
sharpen
yeah,
them.
soft steel and a hardened steel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is just a very good hard quality steel, which
German or Japanese type of steel. Yeah.
We're always on eBay, you know, looking for.
Always looking, right?
Oh yeah, always people who've cleared out their
I like it.
grandfather's shed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Especially in the UK, there's so many people with tools all
Yeah.
over the place, you know, and then it's a lost art, what you do.
Yeah.
And so they're readily available. You just got to find them, you know. The
Exactly.
garage sale, that's what we would call it.
yeah, I actually met a fellow who's still making metal stamps. So that he's got
So put your name on it, right?
So all this font that you can see on here, he's got the actual font, and he recreates or he makes new stamps. So anyone
You know what you need to do? Make a Jack Badger tool line. Because
I've
I'll
got
buy
it.
some.
tool line. Well,
Easily.
I've
You
got
see
a
what they do with
stamp on
chisels?
order pretty much.
Yeah.
And we're gonna ask
wait,
people.
is that Rob?
It is
Oh
Big
my
Rob.
Lord. I met Rob back in April. Hey
Yeah.
Rob, how are you, buddy? You look good.
Fine.
How's it going? Good?
Yeah.
Keep 'em warm?
Yeah, I'm just trying out my new gloves I got for Christmas.
I was first introduced to Jack Badger's incredible carvings when I happened to meet Rob at a project in the Cotswolds. He uncrated this incredible coat of arms all the way from Fragile.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I said fragile.
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 And that's where he showed me the offset also with the peg.
Yeah,
how
yeah,
he
yeah.
kept the tightness of it. And then we had the panel you push to get into the room. Yeah, he showed me a lot of stuff. It was really good.
Yeah.
I thank you for that. It was good. That's why I'm back here. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
For context, me and Rob pretty much started joinery at the same time in life, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then when we set Jack Badger up, it was pretty much me and Rob setting it up. So, just for context.
Yeah, I love it. All right, we're working with the carvers now.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. It is.
It is, right?
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this gentleman,
So
Gentleman carved the coat of arms.
yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
yeah. He'll be
have to
very
speak to him.
bashful.
All right.
And we can't use any words that make him sound too good because he doesn't like that, even though he is.
He doesn't take a compliment well.
He doesn't know. Well, he does, I'm sure. It's your turn, Rob.
Is it right?
Well, Rob, I just realized that I saw one of your works back in April. I was in the Cotswolds and I saw the coat of arms that were put together.
Yeah.
So I was with Rob and he opened it up and we were just kidding around. They came from Fragile because it had fragile on the box. That was a big joke. But then I looked, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is all hand work done. I'm like, oh my gosh, that took a lot of work, a lot of time.
Well, it took more time in the design side than the
Oh, drawing it out?
Yeah, well, I think I've still got it here. We've got...
Oh, there we go.
The architect sent us...
So this was the beginnings of your madness here, how to put it all together.
Well, the architect sent us something which wasn't to our liking. Ben said, we'll do it, but we'll do it our way. So it meant doing a redesign. Well, we had the basis in the shield.
Right.
And the sort of severed arm and scimitar, and the initials. And so we had to redraw it, and then we had to work out how to carve it. And
Did you have to draw it?
I had to draw it all, yeah, and that took longer.
So you have a good hand, you know. Mine shakes too much.
Rob's background is he's a degree in fine art at uni.
Yeah,
so that's his starting block.
You know, I lost faith in the art world.
Then you were a weatherman for a bit.
I was a weatherman before that.
I love that.
A few other things. Yeah, I've had a lot of jobs.
That's good. That's how you evolve, you know?
When did I meet you, Rob? Probably when I was about 13.
Yeah, about 13. Ben's dad brought him down to the workshop and said, will you give him some experience during school holidays? And you were studying woodwork then at school, weren't you? Doing your O-levels.
Yeah.
And Ben helped out in the workshop. And we were doing a mixture then of like commission furniture and antique restoration. And we moved over and did more and more antique restoration in this other workshop where we both worked. And through the antiques, we got to meet the customers of the antique dealer, who often lived in period houses. So they started wanting period interior work, you know, paneling or carved friezes or coats of arms and stuff like that.
Love it.
And
we could do that.
Yeah, so we moved, and that actually was more profitable than the antiques.
Right.
Were more profitable than doing commission boardroom tables or other things like that.
Right.
Benches.
Plus, let's say more intermittent.
Yeah. But through the antique restoration, we got to see a lot of the carving to do in the for the antiques to fake them back.
Yeah, to get it back to what it looks like. Yeah.
I think the word is restored.
Restored.
Yeah. So we had to carve. I had to do some carving.
Yeah.
Wasn't a question, can you do it? It's how are you going to do it?
You can figure it out. Yeah.
So I got interested in it then, and I came across a book of medieval church woodwork. It's probably here. And
my Lord.
We have a lot of reference books.
Yeah, how much is this on eBay?
it's all medieval church woodwork, and I've got that one of this design in my front door. With glass in between two layers. But we just got excited about it and started making things as well to sell, and fake antiques as well. But
they're new antiques. That's what they're going to be in the future. You know what I mean? And 200 years from now, they're like, how old is this thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we learn an awful lot by looking at books like this and seeing how these guys did it.
Yeah. You got the pattern, but it doesn't tell you how high it was or how, the relief.
That's where you would be going, looking at, we do in our research trips or, any sort of field trips that you might be, whether it's on holiday with your missus or coming out with us, that's where you start to learn about the depths and the cut, how the chisels were used, because it's not just about the design, it's about the execution of it as well, which is what, again, it's like you're taking it to a very high degree, but you've got it. Why wouldn't you? You're going to do something, do it properly,
Plus you have the examples all over the place here, and it's not too far of a drive, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you both grow up near Glossop or in Glossop?
Yeah, well, we both work together in, so yeah.
Okay. So from the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am born and bred here.
Born and bred.
Yeah. Rob's moved here. Rob's a blow-in.
Yeah, I consider myself a Mancunian.
Mancunian.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. And then we've kind of we worked at the same place, and then I've left to set my own venture going, and then Rob's joined, and this is, I think, what happens is you get good books and you get people with similar
interest
mindsets and like, you know, geekiness, if you will. And then
to do, you want to do that sort of work, and it's finding a niche
Oh yeah.
that you know you can supply.
Totally.
Fortunately, we've got
Yeah.
a bit of a niche now, and period woodwork is really taking it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I see you're working on something right now.
Yeah.
So you had to acquire all these tools for all the years.
Well, you see, sometimes we get a concept like just a scribble. Just a scribble. And I'm not really looking at it, just scribble here. Just making a few versions of it. And we always like to do samples. First of all, you can show to a customer.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in and say, well, what about this, you know? And it saves going through the whole thought
Save the
process
others.
again.
Say, I want that one.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot of work.
But also, you can, in doing a sample, you can work out what the difficulties are.
Right.
And then you can work out how to do it and make it look like you did it easily just by going chop, 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 chop.
Yeah.
And make it look like you're really clever. But sometimes that takes a bit of working out in the first place so that you can do it in a simplified manner. So I've gone from taking from an old house, and I've done a version of it, and now I'm doing a simplified version of it because the customer is in a farmhouse. It isn't a elaborate sort of country manner, and so you've got to do the style in keeping with what
that's appropriate for the dwelling.
Yeah. And this is a place that the group have been to this week in Wales. And taken photographs and seen what the surfaces look like, you know, how rough they are. You know, some of the stuff that's in the place is really choppy.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
kind of emulate that.
Yeah. And it's a question of looking carefully and then trying to replicate it.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, stuff like this is definitely playing about.
Yeah, I like. This one has got some good relief to it in the shadows.
Oh yeah.
In this one,
it's surprising what you can do. You know, with a little bit of relief. But you know, some of these things were stuff I researched during lockdown with COVID, and I thought, oh well, I've got a few idle moments. I'll start making some of them into things.
Love it.
And I've got a customer for them now.
Easily.
Yeah,
these are great for doors.
There's panels.
Yeah.
But these would make like cupboard doors for little corner cupboards. But because I like to do something that I've never done before. That isn't derivative.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Original.
Yeah.
Yep.
And something like this is really good fun to do. And it takes longer often to draw it.
Oh right. Yeah. To come up with the idea.
Yeah. It takes about a day to carve.
But you don't want to make a mistake here.
Oh well, you make mistakes. You get some glue and stick a bit of wood back in.
Yeah.
You find ways around it.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. Just keep the work going here. Get all the templates and say, oh yeah, let's recreate that one. I know what tool. I knew what chisel I used to make that vein.
Well, also you can often chisel up and see which one is the right curvature or whatever. If you've got a sample.
Do you have a favorite chisel?
I do have favourites. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For me, it would be the 7-iron.
7-iron.
Oh, there you go. Something that feels comfortable in your hand. Yeah.
Talking of Rob's chisels as well, he wraps them up in a sheep's wool thing and
roll
takes
it
them home.
And roll. I love
he
that.
won't leave them here.
I like that.
In case he's like, I'm not having them robbed. You know.
These are his children.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, but in a previous workshop, we were broken into and some tools got stolen. And I couldn't replace these. Most of them are dead men's tools.
Yeah.
Because, there used to be a second-hand woodworking tools shop in the vicinity, only 2 miles away. And so a lot of these have got other blokes' names on them.
Yeah.
And it's nice to keep them going. And that's the nice thing about when we did restoration, you can see, somebody 300 or 400 years did this.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to keep it going, rather than it being
discarded. Yeah, I hate that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this mallet has seen better days. It looks like.
Yeah. Nice.
Have a hold of it. It's very heavy. So
wow. Yeah.
Just right for me. You see, because you can hold it here and be very delicate, or you can give it a real good
whack.
If you want.
And if that robber tries to come in to take your tools, you got.
Well, the reason it's got this stuff around it is I broke it early on, trying to take legs off a chair, and
so use it like a hammer,
and then hit the underneath of the seat, and these legs wouldn't come out, and I gave such a whack that it started to split.
So is this an old table leg?
No, it was initially a mallet. We think it might be lignum vitae, the thing they make bowling balls out of.
Oh,
very hard.
The pin.
In crown green bowling.
Yeah, crown green bowling.
Not.
The small, the hand ones that you roll on. The Dutch used, right?
Well, but the English.
The English, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, does Ben have one?
Ben's got some. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. That's for the lawn bowling.
And that's what you turn them into.
Crown green.
So we get these from Car Boot Sales, which is our garage sale.
Right. So that wood.
It's the only wood that'll sink, I believe.
What wood is this?
Lignum vitae.
Lignum vitae.
Ironwood.
So that's from Africa, or?
I think it is.
I'm not sure.
And then you turn it into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still turn it. It's yeah, and that's a yew wood handle. But
oh, yew. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, the beautiful things in their own right. When you see, when you look at the little, but
the number.
Well, the execution of them being made, like they're a beautiful thing anyway.
Yeah. That's its own art form, and then reuse it again.
You'll notice around the top of the room they had the shields.
Yeah.
So this was us carving the shields and then doing test paint shields. So the clients actually, this is actually his coat of arms.
Right.
He's
the pictures.
So he's a Czechoslovakian prince. And his family tree goes back to like the 1500s, and this is his actual coat of arms.
Wow.
So we've carved it, and then the house that he's been renovating, we put the shields of the families that have lived in the house around the top. So
you had the history of the house.
Yeah. So the history of the house goes back to 1066.
Yeah.
1060.
Yeah. Philip was trying to describe. I was like, he didn't even know what year. He knew it was prior to like 1200.
Very well documented house, yeah.
Because he even showed one part of the house, I guess, where they used to put the fire on the floor, on the stone floor, and they had the opening up in the roof, and the smoke was just to warm the. Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, different type of life.
We'll see it on Sunday, though.
Yeah,
it looks a little different.
Yeah, his underfloor heating helps, doesn't it?
Oh, the kitchen is incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
But the woodwork came out beautifully. Oh my gosh, really. Once we're going to film it on Sunday, and it would be like, wow.
Yeah, Rob's secret doors as well.
Oh, yeah. When he pushed the panel, and I'm like, what the heck? And then the book part was like, in the other room. Yeah,
really clever.
Yeah. He's an interesting cat, Rob.
Very, very. He's one of a kind.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Wild man of the West.
I truly hope you enjoyed watching Master Blacksmith Bob Garlick, along with the intricate carving work of Jack Badger's team of artisans. There's nothing better than seeing people who love what they do for a living create these one-of-a-kind works of art. And remember to hit like and subscribe and click that notification bell so you know when the next episode comes out. Stay tuned for part 3 of the Jack Badger series, where we will take you on a visit to a beautiful stone manor house in the Cotswolds from the 12th century. We will also take you back to where it all began, the hay barn of Ben's childhood home, and discover how far Jack Badger has come from their humble beginnings. So see you next time on Wood, Stone, and Steel. And meet with Bob and Liz. Not that carving station again.